actually managed to get out and do some pike fishing yesterday with another vlogger, Jordan, who's got the Scouse Angler channel. We didn't exactly catch any fish, but it was kind of good for a few reasons. I mean, generally I don't get to meet other people who are doing the same kind of thing as me. They're kind of few and far between. To have somebody else in the same city is great, to be honest. So hopefully we might make a few more trips out. If you want to have a look at Jordan's channel, I'll post a link somewhere up next to me. But when I got back, there was a parcel waiting for me from a group of lure makers in France. I'd sent some lures off to an exhibition. Yes We Craft is their kind of group, and they're kind of friends and Facebook friends, and come together to make lures. And they'd actually gone to one of the big fishing expos in France and set up a stall, which they've done, I think now this is the second year, and asked me if I'd send some along, which was kind of a bit of an honour, really, to be honest. What they did send back as well, along with my lures, was some lures that they'd made themselves. And these are, again, some of these are professional and amateurs, but they're really unbelievable, the quality. And again, a part of me wants to go and throw it in a lake, and the other part of me wants to kind of frame it and stick it on the wall. I managed to get a couple of hours in yesterday to work on the swim bait and tackle the scales, but rather than talk about it, I thought I'd do a quick how-to video. My basic plan for this project is to model a lure using sculpting wax and take a mould and cast plastic lures from it. But to add a bit of realism, I need to recreate some fishy details like scales, and the easiest way I've found to do this so far is with a scale embossing tool. There are some available online to buy, but I want something that's going to suit this project rather than somebody else's. To get started, I went back to one of the roach I caught on my little fishing trip and took a close-up image of his scales into a CAD program. From there I could trace the individual outline of a single scale and also the point where it touches the neck scale in the pattern. After tidying up the shape, I could repeat that pattern to give me an idea of the overall effect. For size, I went back to the roach and counted the scales across its widest part, which came to about 7, give or take. I also had an older drawing of a roach that I used to make my test piece, and it's about the right size for the project I'll be making, so I shrunk the pattern to roughly match the scales from the roach. The tool blade only needs to reproduce this area and the profile, but looking at the dimensions, if I'd stuck with this realistic size, I was not sure if I could make the tool or even use it. So as a compromise, I increased the scale size by about 20% and then printed a paper template. For the tool blade, I used a piece of 12-inch hacksaw and ground off the teeth. With the template stuck down with some double-sided tape, I ground the blade to width and also took away the bulk of the metal from the profile end. Then using a half-round needle file and some strong glasses, I refined the shape, testing as I went. When I was happy the profile was about right, it was back to the grinder, and I thinned the blade out a little and removed some of the paint before tidying up. To add a little curve to the blade and make it easier to use, I clamped it up in the vise with a drill bit and gave it a few taps on either side. To make a handle, I resawed some beech I had left over from a recent glide bait project, and then marked out one piece for a recess, and with a very blunt chisel managed to hack it out. To save a little time, I used super glue to stick both sides of the handle together and left it clamped up for a couple of hours. To round it off, I set it up in the lathe and just played around until something handle shaped came out. Then I could simply push the blade into the slot and also bend the end up with a pair of pliers, and that's the job done.
To test the tool, I ran some more clay through a pasta machine until I had a clean slab to work with, and then laid the first row down using a rocking motion. The second row starts with a half overlap and just continues from there. The tool worked really well, but I still think I'm going to need a bit of practice to fully get the hang of it, especially working at this size. For the swim bait master, I may just cover the blank with a clay sheet and then add the scales afterwards, but there are other possibilities I may look into yet.
If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share or leave a comment. I'm also running a Patreon campaign if you'd like to take a step further and support the channel with an ongoing donation. To see more handmade fisherman videos, click on the channel link or subscribe to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching.